Well, hello YouTube. It has been a very long time, and I apologize for that. As most of you know, there's been some lifestyle changes recently, and it's been really difficult to adjust. Pretty busy around the place. Had some things happen around the place as well. Actually similar to the last Metal Jesus Rocks video where he talks about a rather devastating flood in his basement. Mine was not nearly as severe, but I did have a few issues with some plumbing, and some of you may know I'm a little handy, so I did a lot of it myself in terms of fixing it, but it took a lot of time between a job and a half and a family that just seems to be expanding, plus all other duties. Anyways, long story short, I was beat. So yeah, I didn't really have a lot of energy to get out there and play some games, but we're mostly online. Like, I've been playing some games recently that I've really enjoyed, and I'll get to those in a bit. But yeah, just the whole streaming thing, just zero energy. That being said, I've been up since about 2:30 a.m. today, and I don't feel too bad. So we're gonna run with it. I'm gonna play a little bit of PSO, see who's online. I put a shout out on the Facebook group to see who else is out there. I'm trying out some new equipment. I'm also, hopefully I've got my whole stream set up properly. It's been a little while since I played around with it, and I have a whole ton of pickups. I have been out there hitting the thrift stores and things like that, and wheeling and dealing on some eBay stuff, as well as some local Facebook groups. Having a lot of good luck, actually. Having some bad luck selling some stuff, only because Canada Post was recently on a strike. So that caused a few issues just in terms of things arriving on time. And as most of you know, with eBay's money back guarantee, it works when you're the buyer, but when you're the seller, it really sucks. So out a few bucks there, but oh well, hopefully it'll kind of all come back together now that Canada Post is back to serving regular mail. But in the meantime, yeah, a whole bunch of pickups. Unfortunately, I can't show them all, only because some of them have already been sold. So it's the nature of the beast, or traded, actually. Just one of those things, right? Like, sometimes I'll get things like, for instance, I do not necessarily have a lot of connection with GameCube stuff, but whenever I find it, I know that it has a high trade value and a pretty high sell value. So I typically try to get rid of that. Also, Xbox games and things like that. If I can find decent titles, I know I can get what I want for them, and then I can just put that towards things I do enjoy. So actually, I've got a pickup here that I'll show you guys in a little bit, that I ended up trading a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for Xbox and a sealed copy of Knight's Journey into Dreams for the Wii, and I ended up getting this awesome pickup because of it. So I have been really enjoying the Wii a lot as well. Only one particular game, not because I don't like the other games, but because this is the only game I've really been experiencing, and it's Mario Galaxy. I'm like, holy smokes, this is a great game. As well as on the road, I've been playing a lot of my 3DS recently as well. Haven't really retired my other handhelds, but I've just really been getting into a recent pickup of Samus Returns Metroid on the 3DS. That is a fantastic game. I can't say enough how much I like it. I typically don't really enjoy platformers for whatever reason, but holy smokes, Samus Returns is a great game. I'm sure most of you have played it at this point, but me late to the game, picking up all this stuff as it kind of shuffles out, and the Switch gets ushered in as the new console to have for Nintendo. But I still enjoy the system. I really enjoy a lot of the games. Much like the DS, there's a lot of shovelware on it as well, so you really got to be picky about what you pick up. But I find like the time is now, and kind of going on to another topic I might speak about later on, GameStop has been offering a lot of really good trade credit for things. So generally when I'm out in the wild and I'll find things like PS3 controllers, I just buy them because they're like $3 to $5. Now, GameStop offers on their trade-ins on Thursdays $25 Canadian credit towards whatever. So I just went there with a whole gang of controllers and got some trade credit. So I got some trade credit in the bank. I ended up trading to get a couple things. I probably have like about $120 still in trade credit that I should probably cash in sooner than later. But yeah, it's been pretty good out there. So rather than just sort of talk vaguely about things, I'll show you a couple of things I got. There's one pickup that just blew my mind when I saw this. I posted it on my Twitter, so some of you may have seen this already, but it just really reinvigorated the whole thrill of finding things at thrift stores, because you just never know. That's what it all amounts to. I mean, I complain often, other people complain often about how aggressive it is out there, and it is. I've been noticing more and more day pickers out there, but also how just the stuff out there isn't that great. And typically when you find what you want, they're asking eBay prices, but every once in a while, something just manages to slip through the cracks, and I think I found one of those things, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. But before we fire up PSO, I'm just going to show you a little pile here of some stuff. So some of the things I've been getting for my handheld collection, in particular the 3DS, was I did trade in a couple controllers, and I managed to get a couple of really decent titles. So I got Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey Redux. I ended up getting a copy of Seventh Dragon, the Mega Man Legacy Collection. Now, I'm not completely sold on this, but it was only $15 at EB Games. This actually was a find in the wild. Now, this is a copy of Metal Slug 7 for 3DS in the original case, complete. That was only $3. That was great. And other than Samus Returns, which I currently have kind of loaded up in my 3DS bag, I had to get this. I had to get this before it fades out, and it was Radiant Historia, and it was the complete chronology. So this is the launch edition, the box edition with some extra goodies in it, which I don't really care about too much, but hey, why not? It's the same price. I'm glad I got it. So yeah, that's what I got, the 3DS. Also managed to find this out in the wild. I don't have this. I just basically picked it up because I do like the variants of the DS and the 3DS and stuff like that. So I never actually got around to getting a DSi, and I found a really nice condition pink. It's not really my favorite color, but it's also a color variant that I don't have. I have a lot of blacks and reds and blues and things like that. So yeah, it works perfectly fine. I mean, it's a DSi. It's a nice little handheld console. You can play all of the games that you could for DS on it. All the web enabled stuff I think is obsolete at this point, because not only is the DS store not accessible anymore, but I believe, I haven't tried to connect it to the internet, but from what I understand, it will not connect to like the modern internet for some reason, like something to do with the band that it connects to. I can't remember exactly. If you got like a certain encryption on your network, it won't connect to it. So much like the DS, you might need to get an adapter for it or something. But anyways, I can go through this stuff for ages and not play, but that is not why we are here. We are here to play some PSO. So let's jump right to it, fire it up, see what's going on in the chat. Oh my goodness, people have come out to see me. Hello everybody, what do we got? KOSDC, hello. And sorry, my eyesight is not good. Villo Amiibo, okay, new person. Techno Squeak, I believe we've seen you in the past. And okay, have I played Sonic Mania? No, I have not. Unfortunately, all of that Switch stuff I have not gotten around to yet. One day, I don't know when, but one day I definitely will. Much like I've said before, a lot of the newer stuff I tend to wait, and sometimes it's my own detriment, but I'm not an early adopter of new consoles. So I knew as soon as the Switch was released, it's Nintendo. Give it 2 years or so, they're going to come up with a better Switch. And sure enough, I was right. They did come up with another Switch. So, okay, how do we do this again? Okay, we want to go to online games. We want to go to Phantasy Star Online, and we want to hit X we want to swap, right? So disk swap. So we want to play this, and we want to swap it with the PSO patcher. Bang. Bang. Okay, this should do it. And sure enough, Nintendo announced that they're going to be releasing a new version of the Switch rather. It's probably going to have a glass screen, which is what I was hoping they would do. Better battery life, which is great. Okay, let's do it. Let's pop the Dreamcast and close the lid and start to load with all the patches. Perfect. Who knows? It might be a little bit. I don't know how they can make it thinner or smaller. Maybe some people want a smaller screen. I'm not sure, but you know, it looks like it's a good size. They might try to improve, I think, the dock, because the dock was causing a lot of issues with some people. Definitely going to have to increase the cooling, because if they are going to boost up the power on that thing, it's going to get a lot hotter. And a lot of people have complained about the heat causing their switches to warp. So that's going to have to be something that they resolve. How they do it, I don't know, but it sounds like it's going to be something that's going to be very important to the next release of the Switch. Okay, yes. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to bear with me. It has been a little while since I have played PSO, and I am a little bit rusty on how to get in. But yeah, there's a lot of games on that. Like, they announced that Fallout 3, the 10th anniversary, even though it's gonna be released sometime probably in 2019, which I think would make it 12 years at that point. They're going to be releasing that for the Switch, and that would be a lot of fun. Now, I've played Fallout 3 to death, but it's still a really fun game to play. I'm really excited that Skyrim's on there, because I'd really like to get through that at one point. And really, I only enjoy awesome Christmas Catastrophe. Cool, I made it just in time. Okay, we got our friends Jaxer, and hey, Kumis is on too. Kumis is in the chat. Kumis is in game. Hello, friends. Been a long time, folks. Sorry for that. Got hella busy. Yeah, so anyways, like I was saying, there's a lot of games on the Switch I really want to get to at some point. It's just going to be one of those things where I'm going to have to kind of wait a bit longer. I did actually pick one up at GameStop, and I returned it the next day because I'm like, no, I don't want the Fortnite edition. I'll never play Fortnite. Yeah, break is good if it's for the right reasons, I suppose. But being ridiculously exhausted kinda isn't much of a break. Okay, and give me 1 second. I just have to turn my phone onto silent, because otherwise it's going to be chirping all night long. Okay, and I'm also getting used to this mic. As I showed you before, I found a SM7B, and I got a new windscreen for it, and it sounds really, really good. I've got the cloud lifter and everything like that, but I'm just getting used to it and everything. Yeah, no breaks when you have kids. Just 24/7. Go, go, go. Ah, well, I did it to myself. All right, let's see if we can start a game. Anyone tried CC this year yet? Generally has some good loot, but a fourth might help a bit. Yeah, I'll get slaughtered unless there are decent assists. I still suck at this game, despite becoming its ambassador. Okay, cool. So it looks like we might start a quest. Wanna start a team? I'll join. We'll see if anyone else bites. Cool. So generally, we'll see if Jaxer starts a team, and maybe we'll jump in, or even maybe Kumis, and see what happens. Okay, what's going on in the chat? Hey, Bradley, how's it going? My Dreamcast needs a battery for time and date. Yeah, you want to use now. I think the battery I picked originally was not the right idea. The lithium-ion battery. From what I understand, there's another type of battery, CL2030, I believe you're supposed to use when you do the replacement. Don't quote me on it. I'm going to do some more research, and I'm probably going to update that video. But my YouTube channel is still demonetized completely across the board. Part of me was thinking, okay, I'm going to go jump to Twitch, which I might do actually if I have more time and I can commit to it. But yeah, at this point, basically, I'm getting nothing for anything on my channel. My entire channel has been demonetized. So I've been deleting a lot of things that, you know, quite frankly, they shouldn't have been there. I get it. They were fun to have up, but yeah, they're gone now. Hopefully in the next review. Now, I have had a review denied. And I decided to CC live. Decided to try again for another review after I deleted a ton of content, but quite frankly, I've got content on my channel I don't want to delete. Like, I don't want to delete all my live concerts and things that I've been to. I want to keep those up there as long as possible, because once those are gone, they're gone. Some of them aren't even on my hard drive. Now, I can download them, but it's, again, you're going to be losing quality and all this kind of stuff. So it's a give-take type situation. Gonna grab a mag. Cool. Do I even have a mag on me? Item pack. Mag. Okay, so I still have my Dreamcast mag on it. Probably like zero sync because it's been, you know, in Dreamcast limbo for about a month and a half. Yeah, so I'm still fighting with YouTube about that and see what happens. I might end up just starting another channel on YouTube and see if that works. It'll probably take me a while to get to the user, to the subscription base and to the watch hours in order for it to get monetized, which really kind of sucks because my channel's been around for, believe it or not, 10 years. And most of it, when I originally started, was all live concerts and stuff like that. But, you know, 10 years I've had this channel. It's grown extremely modestly, but I've never really aggressively pushed it either. And I don't, you know, that might even get me to another topic too, because I've been hearing a lot of this recently on some of the YouTube channels that I like to frequent. And that is about like burnout and people kind of, you know, I've noticed this particularly in a lot of these long-term gaming channels. These guys, they stop talking about the craft. They're more interested in talking about you know, algorithms and how stressed out they are and things like that. It's like, you know, maybe don't do this full time. It's not great to do something you like all the time. You'll start hating it, and then what will you have to kind of relax with? So, you know, I enjoy PSO. I wouldn't play it 3 hours a day every day just for the sake of streaming, but hey, you know, it is what it is, right? So you want to try CC? Sure, we can give it a shot, see how far we get. Might need a support class. No, it won't. I'm gonna die a lot. Yeah, so I've been really kind of ignoring a lot of those channels, and actually I've noticed some of those channels too. They since they've tried to keep the same thing going for such a long time, like I've just become really kind of bored with them. And if I'm not bored, I'm just kind of, I realize that some of these guys, and it is mostly guys, they just haven't really evolved their shtick. Even though I don't watch things like the Angry Video Game Nerd anymore, very rarely. Occasionally I've dipped in when he's done movie reviews, because I still enjoy those to some extent. I don't subscribe to the channel, and I don't watch anything regularly. I could care less about the Let's Plays and even the Angry Video Game nonsense. But at least the guys evolved the shtick beyond that to some extent, which is great. But there's certain channels that I've unsubscribed from just because I can't listen to this stuff anymore. You know, for whatever reason, it's either like super, like, I don't know, repetitive, you know, not like watching PSO for 3 years of the same quests, but the same sort of thing every day. And the older I get, I just want to see people kind of evolve as we grow. Like, when you think about it, YouTube came out in what, 2006? I would have been around 25, I suppose. And we all kind of got in at the same time. And all those people that have these legacy channels, they all started around the same time too. And they talked about stuff they knew about, which was things like video games and movies. And that's what sort of set the groundwork for what YouTube is now. But you gotta evolve from there. Like, everybody's getting older and doing different things, and maybe they're not as they don't have time to do this stuff, which is very true of most people. But also maybe they want to hear a different take on it, rather than sort of like an early 20s person's take when you're, you know, your late 30s pushing 40. But that's just me. That's just my preference anyway. There's a lot of these guys that have been around here for a long time that I've been watching, and I'm just like, wow, you still think I want to hear what you sounded like 10 years ago? Well, you are mistaken. Okay, UGB, I'm glad you've come. I'm Santa's head elf, Melvin. I'm in terrible trouble. You see, I am in charge of giving Santa the list of goods, list of good little boys and girls each year. But this year, the Pioneer 2 government confiscated the list. They tore it up pieces, locked away the data in the mine. Please, UGB, you've got to get back the list. Without it, we can't have Christmas on Pioneer 2. The soldiers know I won't go to the mine. So I think their computer security is weak. With your amazing ranger skills, I bet you can break into the database and retrieve the list. They ripped it into 4 pieces, so I bet there will be 4 computers you will need to find. I'll leave it to you, UGB. Please get all of Santa's pieces of Santa's list back for me. Okay, cool. So I remember this quest. Maybe we will survive it. Who knows? Okay. So they're healing up. We've got everything we need. I think we're good to go. Let's see how we do out here. So that being said, I do enjoy channels like, I really love John Hancock, because I feel like he's a bit older than me, not by much, but kind of in the same sort of groove where it's like he still likes this stuff as a hobby. He's not completely invested in it. He's doing other things, and you know, he's not complaining that he's depressed and stuff like that, and sacrificing things like family for video game stuff, which, you know, is very admirable, because judging by that guy's collection, it could be very easy for him to do that. But anyway, you know, it's just something that I've realized, that I don't know if part of it is also like myself as a person. I've evolved a little bit. When I say evolved, it's not meant to be facetious. It's if you don't grow as a person, then you're kind of missing the point of life, I guess. You kind of always gotta be growing. So I don't know, I just think I've grown out of that phase where I want to listen to people swear at old video games and stuff like that, which is completely fine and reasonable, I think. That said, I still enjoy playing a lot of the old stuff. I've noticed more and more that I've been enjoying older stuff simply because, like, not for the sort of Like, definitely not for any kind of ironic reason or anything like that, but like, I just love the pick up and play aspect of old video games. I love the fact that I'm not committed to an Atari game. There's nothing that I have to save and go back to at any time. It's just, it's in the moment. It's much like a, oh, for fuck's sake, what just hit me? It's not like I've got to commit 200 hours to it and I've got to worry about, you know, definitely don't have to worry about some of the more modern inconveniences of video games, such as like microtransactions and stuff like that. But once it's over, it's over. You know, like I don't have to kind of invest my entire life into it or anything, which is great. Which is kind of why I've gone back to things like Atari. Believe it or not, I've been playing quite a bit of Atari lately, and again, not out of any sense of ironic, these are old video games, but like that's one of the consoles I grew up on. In fact, I can remember explicitly when I was a young person, Nintendo was available, Atari was still being sold in stores. Like they were still kind of on the tail end of selling games and they were dirt cheap. And in my mind, because I've always been cheap and I don't really know much about this stuff, I was like, given the option of getting a Nintendo or an Atari, and I chose Atari at first. I did get a Nintendo that same year from my grandmother, but in terms of like the system that I wanted for Christmas for my parents, because the Ataris are like liquidated to nothing, I was like, why would I want a Nintendo when these games are $30, $40 a piece? I know that our family's poor. We'll never be able to afford them. We'll never be able to keep up with these games and get the most modern ones and things like that. Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to tease and torture myself? Why don't we get an Atari? It's still games. They're pennies compared to what the other games are costing. Why don't we just get that instead? So I can remember specifically we went to Zeller's and we ended up getting an Atari 2600, and I can't remember the games we got for it at the time, but it was funny because almost instantly I realized my mistake. And it wasn't a mistake in the fact that I didn't like the console, but it wasn't Nintendo, that's for sure. Back in the day, you know, you weren't playing Frogs and Flies was nothing compared to playing Double Dragon 2 or even Super Mario Brothers, which is still a fantastic game on the system, but yeah, much different, let's just put it that way. But you know, I've come back around to it. I still love playing games like Pitfall 2. That's a really good pick up and play game. I still love playing games like, oh shit, we're gonna have to do something about this because we are losing. Oh shit, okay, did we get out of that? Okay, bang. We are not doing well. I don't think we're gonna last too long in this at all. Hero's a fun game to pick up and play. I've been getting a real big kick out of what was that game I was just playing recently? Why can't I remember these things the way I used to? Oh yeah, it's because my brain's running on zero sleep. I don't know, it's just kind of fun to just throw those carts in, and some of them are good. There's a lot of crappy games for that system, not worth playing, not worth having, but the good ones are good. And again, that said, back in 1985 or 86, whenever the Nintendo came out in North America, you know, my friends had it, and their folks were a little bit better off than my folks at the time, so it was easier for them to kind of stock up on games. I had one friend who had 10 Nintendo games. Could you believe it? 10 Nintendo games. Man, this is rough. I had 2 or 3 for many years, and I think what game did I have that really sucked? Bayou Billy. I had Bayou Billy, which, you know, was the mascot for the system. Was in that crappy Captain N game, Video Game Masters television show, which I can remember still watching all the time on television, despite the fact it was terrible. It was a bad game, but since it was, you know, Nintendo sort of like, it was going to be their ambassador of the system, I was like, well, maybe it's just me that sucks. Maybe it's not the game at all. No. We all learned much later on in life, much too late, that no, that just because things are official releases doesn't mean they can't suck, and they do suck. And that was my experience with those games. And again, like I said, I had like basically 3 games most of my life. And then in 1999, when I went to college, that's when I started collecting these old games, because it was like anybody else. Like, I just wanted to play them. It was stuff I never had back in the day, and I just wanted it. And nobody was into gaming back then. Like 1999, some people that stuck with that stuff that were my age, maybe they got into Nintendo 64. Definitely people that were my age, when you're 19 and 20, especially back when I was 19 and 20, you were not really that interested in things like the Dreamcast getting released. You were definitely not interested in things like, you know, PlayStation 2. It was about partying, and it was about, you know, like, I don't know, just doing everything you do when you're that young and you've got some disposable income, and you know, you're having fun and you're independent. Like, that was basically what I was doing at that time in my life. But I was stocking up on a lot of old Nintendo games. I was getting tons of them from thrift stores. I was getting tons of them from pawn shops. Everything was just, you know, $2 or $3. You get a bag of them for like $3 or $4. It was crazy. Those were the salad days. It was great. Loved it. I exploited it for whatever it was worth, and they are long gone now. But I will show you something. Before we finish up today, I will show you something that has rekindled my interest. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, so I guess this all kind of ties back to what I was saying about these old YouTube channels, is that, you know, back in 2006 when everything came out, it was like, yeah, that was still kind of where I was at. I was collecting this stuff. I was like, oh shit, more people are collecting this stuff too. That's why I got into it. And I think I got links to YouTube videos from, I can't remember what I was watching at the time. It was one of those meta video compilers. I think it was Spiked Humor, which I'm not registered to anymore, I don't think. Maybe I have an account, I'm not sure. But back then I used to go there all the time, and they would have tons of things that were like these like viral videos of the time, I suppose. You would see these weird music videos and all this kind of stuff, and they were all links that were hosted on who knows where. Like, I'm sure these hosting sites, most of them are gone, like Blip sites. Dailymotion is still around. Believe it or not, Dailymotion is still around, but yeah, unfortunately Blip is long gone, which again ties into the whole YouTuber thing. Like, when you think about it, a lot of these guys, like that I used to watch back in the day, like they had a lot of their content hosted on these platforms that don't exist anymore. A lot of those guys, like I used to love watching those Spoonie videos, and you know, some of them, like the old ones, the movie reviews and stuff like that, those are the later ones where the production was better. Those are still entertaining to some degree, or informative at the very least, which I kind of enjoy. But yeah, a lot of that stuff was hosted on things like Blip, and when Blip just decided to pack up out of nowhere, they all that content was lost unless you were prepared and you downloaded things ahead of time, or if you kept things on a hard drive, which most people didn't. It was just hard drive space, especially back in 2006. That was so coveted. I mean, I could remember, I think I bought a 1 terabyte drive, and I thought this is going to last me forever. I believe I spent like $300 or something like that on a 1 terabit drive back in 2006. And I mean, that drive is long gone now, but it was quite impressive back then. So yeah, unfortunately all that stuff is long gone, which is another reason why I'm reluctant to take down some of the videos that are on my YouTube page. Like a lot of these concerts that I went to, I don't have hard copies of those anymore, unfortunately. I've had a few failed hard drives since then, and a lot of the raw video that I saved, that's all gone. Like, my intention was always to save that stuff and eventually, you know, like, 'cause I knew that these sites wouldn't be around forever, but unfortunately it's just the nature of the beast, you know. Things go. I've lost a lot of photos from that era. I've lost a lot of music stuff that I was working on, and home videos and things, like all of it gone. I tried to recover some of it, and some of it I did get back, but most of it is gone. Old pictures and things of that nature. So yeah, I don't know what the solution is. Right now I back up on multiple hard drives. I back up on multiple cloud services, and you know, I try to back up stuff as much as possible everywhere. And I get what people say when they're like, oh, you know, if you go to these cloud services, you know, then they have access to your stuff. And oh, for fuck's sakes, I knew that was going to happen. God damn it. But I'm not doing anything too interesting that I'm too worried about. You can steal my lame baby photos, that's fine. They're not lame, they're cute, but I don't think anybody else thinks they're that cute. Alright, while I'm dead and figuring out what the next step is, maybe, okay, I was gonna say maybe we can go to the chat, which we can. Let's regroup. Holy smokes. We may make it, but it's gonna be a tough one. Enter. Okay, let me see what's going on in the chat. Yeah, so Twitch, I do have a Twitch channel I haven't really done much with, but it is there, and I do have an Amazon Prime account, so it makes Twitch a little bit more usable for me. So I think I will try and dip down to Twitch at some point when I commit to more of a schedule. I'm going to try to commit to the Saturdays, but I think I'm probably going to leave one of my jobs at a certain point, and when I do that, I'll definitely have a little bit more consistency in my life. At the moment, I'm working full-time during the day. When I'm not working full-time, I'm... Oh, shit. Okay, I am working at several part-time jobs, which has been eating up a lot of my free time, but unfortunately, you know, that's how things are. Everything's expensive in life. Maybe if I didn't buy so many things at thrift stores, I guess. Ask for some SD. Not sure what that means. Maybe you can clarify that. Yeah, so Bradley just said brick and mortar video game stores are dying, and unfortunately, I can't disagree with that. One thing I've noticed lately is that the video game stores that I used to frequent, that were sort of mom and pop stores, like, they have really been taken, like, the prices have been going down. They were expanding exponentially, and I don't know what they thought was going to happen. But I just see fewer and fewer people going in there, less and less staff. You know, it's a matter of time before those dry up, because there's a finite amount of retro products that you can resell, and there's a limit of what you can mark things up before people just lose interest. And let's face it, emulation has come a long way. On top of emulation, flash cards have come a long way too. You can virtually get a flash card or a flash drive for essentially every system out there. So it's not too hard to play the actual games as long as you have the console. So really, I find the consoles to be of the most value at this stage in the game. I've been selling a lot of games, actually, just because I realized that my whole PS2 collection completely wiped. I had about probably about 200 PS2 games, a lot of good titles, but I don't collect for PS2. I do enjoy playing PS2 occasionally, but I do not collect for PS2. I have a free McBoot PS2 Fat in my basement, and I have a 1 terabyte hard drive, Firecuda, so hopefully it lasts a bit longer than the other hard drives that you can get. I guess a solid state would probably be the most ideal, but anyways, it's what I have, it's what I'm using. It works quite fine, it fits in there quite well. But yeah, I can just play every game I want on it, and I find peripherals to be the most coveted video game currency at this stage. I don't see the games holding as much value as I do, like, let's say, controllers, or a really well clean, put together console, things like that. You know, I've got multiple consoles. I've got multiple Dreamcasts. Right now I'm down to 4, and basically those four, I have the Dreamcast you see me playing now, which is the black Sega Sports Dreamcast. It's essentially completely gutted. There's not much original on it except for the main board. I've replaced, as I've shown you in a couple of videos, and there is a video on the actual main YouTube channel, I've replaced the fan, I've replaced the power supply, I've replaced the optical drive, I've replaced the battery, I've replaced the LED, I've replaced a lot. And I will be replacing one more thing in the very near future. But this console is not what it used to be. It's not the same thing anymore. And, you know, it's fine. It serves its purpose. But I do have a lot of Dreamcast games still. So I have another console, just a plain white, that's basically been unscathed, other than what have I replaced? I replaced the battery. That was it. But other than that, I haven't really done much to it. I don't plan to do much to it. I also have a Japanese Dreamcast, which I don't really play. I have it more because I got a really good deal on it. And you can do a lot with a Japanese Dreamcast. If you put a region-free BIOS in it, then it's effectively the same as just a normal Dreamcast. The big difference between the Japanese Dreamcast and the UK Dreamcast is, yes, it uses different power supply, but I believe the frame rate is the same as the NTSC U Dreamcast, which means that there's no slowdown in games, unlike the PAL games that you have. And then they play a little bit slower because of the refresh rate, or the frame rate, rather. Not the frame rate. The hertz it plays at. It's 50 hertz for PAL, 60 for NTSC, if I remember correctly. Anyways, yeah, so I've got some modded consoles, but I've got some original stuff that I'm not going to touch. And I also have one that's pretty much just 4 parts. Now, I've got enough spare parts for it at this point that I could probably get away with putting it together and selling it if I really, really wanted to. But right now it's just basically something that I've used to harvest and put together other Dreamcasts, or fix my own Dreamcast with. Like, for instance, when I needed a lid switch for this, I should have known better. There is a person on the Dreamcast Junkyard who requested the switchboard, or the board that connects to the optical drive, because theirs had failed. So I gave them mine just out of the kindness of my heart. They didn't compensate me at all, which is fine. I gave it to them, but then they go back onto the page bragging about all of the stuff that they get for free and all this kind of stuff. So I felt a little bit used, I have to admit, but whatever. It's not like I didn't give it to them, so it's on me at that point. But yeah, I do have quite a few Dreamcasts right now. It's one of my favorite consoles. I can't say it's like my favorite console. I'd have to say the console that I have the most extras of right now is easily the Game Gear. I've probably got about 10 Game Gears sitting around in my garage that I'll never do anything with. I'm slowly trying to roll them out and sell them, but it's a hard go. It's you know, not many people are interested in the Game Gear. They all know it's a bit of a pig on batteries, unless you get the McWill mod and you get decent batteries. Now, if you use the McWill mod and combine that with the Panasonic Anyloop 10 volt or AA batteries, you can get a good 8 to 10 hours life out of your batteries before they start to fail on you, which is pretty decent for a handheld. It's on par definitely with everything else. Okay, is this the first piece? Click, click, database activated. Okay, my Haxer skills breaking the data piece. I got part 1 of Santa's list. All right, good stuff. Okay, you know what? We have not been feeding our mag. We've been neglecting our poor little mag. Here we go. Give Trimate. Poor little guy. He tries so hard. Give Trimate. And we should probably use some of those other items that we got as well. Might have to make a dip back to... Okay, we'll use the evade material. Yes. Yes, and let's drop that. Drop that. And do we have anything else that we need to drop? Not really. What time is it? 191. Okay, well, we might be able to use the Heaven Punisher in a little bit. So yeah, I can't remember what I was rambling on a little bit about, but yeah, what other consoles do I have quite a bit of, actually? I think I've slimmed down everything. All my doubles I've pretty much purged. I ended up selling just a gang of random video game stuff recently to somebody on Craigslist for 150 bucks. And it was just a little bit of everything. So I think I'm down to pretty much one console of everything that I enjoy playing. I mean, there's always room for more stuff, but I just don't really have any desire to have a N64. I might get an N64 Mini if it comes out, but I really have no desire for an N64. Not really a console quite frankly, I've never really enjoyed that console. I know there's some games on it that people like, but there's also really good ports for things like the 3DS. You know, if you want to play Ocarina of Time, you know, it's on the 3DS. If you want to play Majora's Mask, it's on the 3DS. There's lots of good stuff. Star Fox for the 3DS, brilliant port. So I don't know. I think I enjoy them better. It's better for me, and I just have no attachments to that console. I've had probably half a dozen N64 lots that I picked up, you know, back in the heyday of getting this kind of stuff, and it's just you know, I've never held on to it. I just, every time I think I'm going to, I hate the controller. Some people enjoy it. I hate the controller. Where are we going? Okay, I think you guys are going the wrong way. There we go. And there's only probably about 20 good games for it too. If you get those 20 games, you might as well consider your collection complete. I've had all those games. I played them for a handful, and they're good, but yeah, nothing that I need to hold on to. But getting back to the Dreamcast and modding and original systems, there is a mod that I'm definitely gonna have to think about getting, depending on the price. It looks like it might be kind of reasonable, so hopefully I can get it. And it's the new DC HDMI mod. So how is this different from what we are currently looking at? Well, right now I'm using an analog signal that I'm upscaling rather, to HDMI. So I'm using the Atlona HD 500 upscaler. So the VGA analog signal is being upscaled. It's probably being line doubled or something like that to 1080p, and then I've got the aspect ratio set to pan and scan, which is why you get this nice little blocky image. The thing is, though, it's still an analog signal, so there is some soft edges on it. The colors are very vibrant, but they are not as vibrant as they could be. So what does this mean? Well, the new board that you can get for your Dreamcast is a built-in HDMI solution. It attaches permanently, from what I understand, with very little modification to your Dreamcast, and you simply plug in an HDMI cable and you're off to the races. Tom from the Dreamcast Junkyard has been posting photos of it. I'm also on the mailing list for it, and it looks phenomenal. I can't express enough how good the quality on it looks. I'm very excited for this. Hopefully I'm able to get one this run, but the good news is this is not going to be a limited run device. This is going to be around for a while, from what I understand. So I am very, very, very excited to get my hands on this. If not, when the next pre-order comes out, or I shouldn't say pre-order, when the next round comes out for sale, I believe there's going to be 75 available to the public at the very least. I'll be able to get it when it comes out for pre-order. So that's my hope. That's my hope right now, is that I can get the next round of it, because I do have a couple of dollars that I've saved in my PayPal kitty for this particular machine. But in the event that I'm not able to get it, it sounds like I'll be able to pick it up at some point. So I'm not particularly worried, which is good, because there have been a couple of things that have come out recently that I've not been able to get, and it's been kind of a bit of a bummer. Mostly because I'm late to the game. I think these things are going to be available forever. I wait, and I don't get it. And let's be honest, I mean, sometimes there's things that come out and I'm just like, why do I need this? I was on a bit of a kick with the Lynx in the last few months. I was getting lots of Lynx products. It's a really good console. It's phenomenal if you get the McWill mod. I've shown you guys in the past my McWill mod, and it's fantastic. But I gotta admit, the game selection, there are great games on there. There are great ports on there, and especially for its time, it's fantastic. Very underrated console. It's a shame that it didn't go anywhere. It was just a bit bulky, and you know, Atari has really loved kind of shooting themselves in the foot with the way they promote some of their hardware. But anyways, hold 1 second here. Kinda sucks, but we are strangely surviving. Might need to dip to Pioneer for some supplies. Damn. We lost one. Shoot, okay. Let's see, is our friend Kumis, is he available in the chat? Wonder if he disconnected voluntarily. Yeah, this is not gonna work. Damn. Yep. Not gonna happen with 2. Okay. Back to Pioneer, I guess. Damn, that sucks. Alright, well, okay. So let's use item pack, telepipe. Okay, we'll just hop in their telepipe, not a big deal. Yeah, so Atari, fantastic console, really get into it. Bought a lot of games. I've got a little over half of the collection right now. Some of the really harder to find titles. There's a lot of filler titles in there. And I was thinking about getting a complete set. There's only, I believe, 73 games in the entire collection. But I don't know, to get some of those games, it's going to be a little pricey. Not terribly, like nothing I couldn't afford, but stuff where I'm like, I don't know if I really need to have this stuff in my collection. So that's kind of where I'm at. I might stop. There's a couple of homebrews like Wyvern's Tale that I really want to get. Hopefully that'll come out shortly. Well, it's available to most people, but I'm on their waiting list. So let's get Trimate. Give Trimate. Perfect. And give a Trimate. Perfect. Yeah, so that looks fun. A couple of other games that have come out recently, like Zaku and things like that. I don't know. It's not really my style of game, and I'm not going to spend 100 Canadian dollars on a cart like that. It's just nothing I'm really that interested in. It might be nice to have, but I probably will play it for 5 minutes and never play it again. Kind of like the port for Double Dragon. I did find it, and it's a good port, but you can only play it for so long before you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's just Double Dragon. So, hi there, UGB. You only have 1 part. I know. Well, good luck getting you all 4. Let's just put it that way. Unless we can find somebody like Kurohime, we're screwed. Cancel. Fortunately, yes, we are going to have to cancel. I was on EP. Okay. Shit. That's why it was. Did that mean it was 2x tough for the team? I noticed I was hitting or shite. Ba-da-ba-ba. Okay. Want to try making a team? Yeah, we could do that. Sure. I'll join. See if it gets easier. Yeah, well, let's hang out in the... Okay, well, here, let's just start a team. Organize team, create team, PSO version 2, your GB. Difficult, ultimate, and register. The same kind of went for, just going back to that, like, the same definitely went for Dreamcast. I kind of reached my cap at about, I think I got about 200 games in. Some of those games aren't very good. The rest of the games that I need, there's like maybe one or two that are great, but most of them, I just don't need them. They're just filler titles, right? So I kind of lost my steam with that. Same thing with Game Gear. I think I got about 70 games in before I decided, okay, I'm good. They got some really great RPGs. If you replace the save battery in the carts, they play fantastically. But didn't need a lot of those filler titles, like sports titles and racing titles and things like that. And then the titles that are worth a lot of money are only worth it because they're rare, and not rare because they're good. They're just rare because there's not a lot out there, but they're generally kind of crap games for the most part. So that's kind of where I left it with those things. Nintendo, I completely stopped because it got crazy there for a while. And then when it didn't get crazy, what are we doing here? Okay. You know, a lot of thrift stores and stuff like that, they started putting it behind the glass, and it just, I don't know, it was one thing after another. It just, I lost my interest. And then you find out you'll never get a complete set. It's impossible. Yeah, especially if you consider a complete set having those Nintendo World Championship cards. Like, it's never going to happen. So because of that, I just sort of gave up on the whole thing. It was just like, I'm good with the games I have. I have all the games I enjoy. Maybe there's a couple of titles that I've never played as a kid, but titles that I know are fun, that I might get a kick out of having, but I'll never find them, like Little Samson, which is a great game, but way too expensive. Again, like, I have my flash card. I have my NES Power Pack. It's fine. I put that in the hardware. It plays perfectly. It's a perfect rip of the game. No problems with it. Sorry. Try what? Oh, maybe they want to do... Oh, well, see about doing Christmas Catastrophe again. Let's try it. See if it's any easier. ERB. Gotta check something out. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I just have to check out one thing. I'm just gonna put it to the main gaming. Okay, guys, we're back, but unfortunately not for long. I'm kind of dealing with some stuff. Again, until this whole situation kind of chills out a little bit more, I'm going to be really on and off with streaming, which is why I don't want to commit to Twitch, but eventually I will definitely go to Twitch. Let me just talk with these guys here for a minute. Hey, guys. Sorry to bail, but I've gotta do some IRL stuff at the moment. Oh, damn. Okay, well, I guess it is what it is, but before we go, I will definitely show you guys some of my more interesting pickups too. I'll see if I can jump back in, but it's not looking good. Boo! All right. Good game, folks. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go to the lobby. Let's just go save our game really quick. And unfortunately, guys, yeah, as you've probably noticed, I have unfortunately got to jet. So save one, character data saved, perfect. Start, quit game. Let's make sure everything's saved properly to our card. Okay, well, that was a very short PSO session. What can you say? It's PSO. It's great. I love this game. I just wish that things were a little bit calmer. They will get calmer. I know how these things go. Let's go back to my main screen here. Generally, I found with newborns, the first 6 months is pretty rough. They're pretty loud. They don't like to sleep right and all that kind of stuff. But after that, they just sleep through the night. So I'm just riding it out. I'm going to try and come in. I've been thinking about the YouTube people that have been supporting me, people that have been watching the streams and subbed and everything like that. And I felt guilty, honestly. Like I've had that in the back of my mind. Like, man, I really want to get on there and talk to people because I really like talking to you guys. But yeah, just right now it's a little bit, I can't really commit to anything, and I don't want to commit to anything. So it's going to be infrequent. I definitely will try to get on as often as I possibly can. But yeah, until I kind of, get this whole thing settled down here at the household, it's going to be a little up and down. But that said, let's leave on a good note here. I do have some really cool things that I want to show you guys that I found out there in the wild. I will show you. Yeah, let's just go to this pile right here. So I found some really cool Blu-rays and DVDs. Monsters, the complete set on good old DVD. Monkey Shines on Blu-ray, another really great movie that nobody watches. I ended up getting this from Amazon, which is the Critters collection on Blu-ray. Had to get that. I got these all in a local trade, which is Chud 1 and Chud 2 on Blu-ray. Not great movies, but enjoyable nonetheless. I got Hobgoblins and Munchies in a trade as well. So that's that. But that's not the thing that I'm talking about. So before we go, let's end on a really high note. Let's end on a positive note for thrifting. I was in a Value Village and I went at around 2:30 p.m. I've been getting so frustrated with Value Villages. There's these day pickers that are there all day long. They rob the carts. They are incredibly frustrating to hack through. So I'm at a Value Village. It's about 2:30. I'm not expecting much, but I'm in between places that I got to go. I figured, okay, I'll pop in and see what they got. I come in. I tend to go to the electronics department first because that's where I generally find things that I find if you're going to find something good, it's going to be there first. Then I might go to the video game section / DVD section. Then I'll go to the random bagged kind of like electronic stuff. Sometimes you find some good stuff there as well. So I went to I could see it down the aisle. I saw it and I looked at it and I was like, no way, this isn't happening right now. And I was like, I think I literally ran. I think I literally ran to the box from across the hall. I could see what it was and I was very, very excited. So what is it? What did I see? Well, it's something that I've had previously, and I showed you guys again. I got it at another Value Village. It's crazy, but I sold it. I kind of regretted selling it, but again, it was just one of those things where I could get a lot of money for it, so it made more sense to get rid of it than to hold on to it. But I don't know, the thrift gods, they've looked down upon me, and they've heard my cries, and they've given me this wonderful blessing again. So what was it? Well, I saw it. I could recognize it right away. I was like, there's no way this is sitting on a shelf right now. Nobody scooped it off a trolley cart, but none of the regular day pickers were there. I don't know what it was. Maybe they were all out talking or something. I ran up, I grabbed it, and I was like, there's no way this is complete. And sure enough, it was, and the price was good too. So what am I talking about? Well, it is a complete in-box TurboGrafx 16, believe it or not. And look at that price. I'm not lying. We're talking $50 Canadian. I also got a 30% off coupon that I use, so even cheaper, $35. And yeah, it's complete. Had the controllers, had all the RF stuff, had everything. It looked like it barely been touched. It even had the manual. Here, I'm going to open up the box. Now in the box, you're not going to actually see the console because I have the console set up. I did bring it over just to show you guys that it was included. And here it is here. So this little thing on the back, this is something that Hyperkin recently released, and it is actually an AV output. But yeah, it's a mint condition console. Came with Keith Courage. No case, but that's okay. But yeah, one of the more interesting things that came with it is like the box looks, you know, it's in okay shape. It's not pristine by any means, but definitely not pristine now, but that's okay. It came with the instruction manual that you can see right here. So I've never seen a TurboGrafx instruction manual. Yeah, so very, very interesting find. Don't worry guys, it didn't damage anything. I knocked over something else that fell on the floor. But yeah, a complete in-box TurboGrafx 16. It was quite the find for that cheap. So I ended up ordering the flash cart from Stone Age Gamer, and that's pretty much what I'll do with it. In the meantime, guys, I've talked way too long because I've got some stuff that I've got to attend to. Thank you so much for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Hit the bell if you like. I have no ads to click on because I'm currently not being monetized by YouTube. But if you enjoy the stream, if you enjoy Phantasy Star Online, Dreamcast, if you enjoy my voice, whatever it is, you know, feel free to put any support forward that you like. I do have some donation links in the description. Don't feel obligated by any means, but hey, if you're feeling generous, I will more than happily accept, and I will certainly mention it on the next live stream. But I would really like YouTube to just figure out, like, why did you demonetize my channel, and why can you not just allow me to put ads back on? It's ridiculous, but they're a private company. They can do what they want. Oh well, it is what it is, and we'll probably be moving on to Twitch in the new year anyways. In the meantime, guys, I just went on about stuff that I previously complained about, so let's cut it off there. Have a great night, folks. It was a pleasure talking to everybody. It was a pleasure playing with those guys again, and I will see everybody hopefully very shortly. Take care.